Welcome back to the 2016 EUCS Summer Qualifiers, and as we get into at least the last game that I'm casting today in Game 4 of Day 5, let's take a look at those lineups. So on the blue side of the Rift is going to be G2 Vodafone with Sendo in the top lane, Incos in the jungle, with Mini Duke in the mid lane, and Falco in the bottom lane.
Falco.
I only just realized that today, and I was like, that's fantastic. As the tournament's gone on, this team is actually looking better and better, at least as individuals. Like, Falco's had turned up on day one. Sendo has had really good Gnar games, but when they come together as a team, it hasn't always been enough to actually net them wins.
No, I think that's been one of the biggest problems, is their teamwork. We thought looked to be so good coming into it, and then day one, day two was like, ooh, maybe they can team fight. Yeah. It's kind of fallen a little bit apart the last couple of days. I just haven't really been convinced by a lot of what G2 Vodafone have been trying to do, at least. And when you compare them to their opponents now, it could be a tough game for them, because taking them on today, it's going to be Team Forge on the red side with Mimic in the top lane, Taiki in the jungle, Jizuki in the mid lane, Gap and Hiva round out the lineup as AD carry and support. And, you know, we speak about G2V perhaps not being able to play team fights, or at least as a team too well. Yesterday, 4G played against Kick, who were leading their group, and we're like, well, we're just going to pick like Alistair. We're going to just go ham. Sivir, Alistair, just jump in the mid lane, put a Gnar in there, everybody just dive in.
Yeah, and it worked out really well. Jizuki, for example, went absolutely huge on Vladimir, if you remember. We were like kind of doubting him, and then he went 9-0 and 3. Yeah, and it was just like, okay, it's fine, it's fine. You just play whatever you want. Morgana mid, great. Vladimir, just do it. Like, just do whatever you want to do.
Yesterday,
just do it.
you said tomorrow.
And
tomorrow would be too late.
Yeah, it would be. But maybe tomorrow was today, and he's going to bust something else out. I want to see just something new in the mid lane. Vladimir has kind of risen up in popularity. And yeah, what else have we seen? Nothing really new. I mean, like Victor, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just as a team, though, it was not necessarily new picks that reinvigorated this team. It was Hiva coming back. Yeah. We had the first 2 days with Den, supporting for them. Now Hiva's there with the "let's always dive at all times" plays, which are good and bad. Yeah. Mostly good, though, in yesterday's game versus Kick. There was a lot of diving mid lane and just going straight in.
Well, Hiva goes crazy, right? Yeah. But, like, is calculated crazy. Whereas, like, you know when Clyde just dives the tower and dies?
Not clinically insane.
Right. But then he still goes ham and just goes in for the engage all the time, but it always works out. So maybe he is insane, but it just works. But it's fine. As long as it works, it does well.
That's fair.
Let's get into game. I remember Vedios was saying yesterday, maybe we'll even see some targeted bans towards Hiva, because every time he gets Alistair, he just goes like ridiculous.
I'm gonna be sad if there's an Alistair ban. I'm gonna be honest. I just
would
don't feel like it's ban-worthy.
Yes, going into the tournament, we're like, look at the Alistair nerfs. Everyone's talking about how he's dropping down in priority, and then like Hado has like a couple games where he doesn't do well, and it's like, okay, the theory that Alistair's not so good anymore is true, and then Hiva turns up.
The thing is, a lot of it's about warding. Right, is making sure that the Alistair can't easily get to
a flank,
So we'll see exactly if he does get locked in, if he does get banned. I hope he doesn't. But speaking of bans, 2 that we would expect. 1 very similar to our last game that we were casting, where it's an AD carry ban, just to put the pressure down. See if it'll be a first pick Lucian if G2 want to opt that way.
Yeah, so Ryze, Azir, and Lissandra are kind of like the trifecta of bans that we see almost every game out from the mid lane from both teams. Sivir going to be aimed towards Gap. Just stop him from just farming all game. And
the other side is stop one of those real momentum tools that Forge just go, okay, just hit the button and go. That's a lot of what they have been playing. For
sure, because the Sivir has often been facilitating the engage from Forge, so it makes it a little bit harder for them just to run at you and go for like an Alistair combo. Nidalee going to be aimed at Taiki. Did have some good games on that champion. Bard aimed at Falco. I mean, he had a really good Bard game.
Yeah.
But Falco's also had good Alistair games, so maybe Alistair will be a contested pick here. Lucian's still available for a first pick. Trundle is still available for a first pick.
Sad to see Bard gone. Saw a good game earlier in LCK with Bard. Some pretty sweet plays. Not going to be a Renekton first pick. Nope. Absolutely not. As you said, a couple of picks. Trundle is available. Braum is up. Lucian is up. Junglers are up as well, both of them. So maybe you don't have to rush for one of them. Unless you really want the Kindred, I guess.
Interesting. Leaves a lot open. Trundle is open.
Lucian is open.
Lucian's open.
Lucian Trundle would be the lock-in we've seen time and time again.
Yeah.
On
but
red
usually you
side when
take one
available.
away first. So.
Usually, but we've seen, depending on which team it is, we've seen different priorities. Like,
Yeah.
if available on this first rotation red side, this is like the lock-in
Yep.
for 6-10, we've learned. It's
Exactly.
like, oh, flex it and take the Lucian. Like,
Perfect.
flex the
I
Trundle.
mean, it couldn't get better, really,
Yeah.
for Team Force. So simple lock-in. G2 now, looking towards their next 2 picks. So they have the Kindred. And yeah, just trying to play upset here with Team Forge. And what are they going to prioritize? What's Miniduke been good on? He's been good on Lissandra, which has been taken away.
Yeah.
LeBlanc as well.
There's a Victor game, I believe.
Victor game.
Was not so impressed. Was it Miniduke's Rise that was available? And he just
it
went
was.
like 0-5 and 8. And
Yeah.
was like, did nothing.
Oh, yeah, because they got
fights.
baited into that. Yeah, I remember.
They took like
yeah.
the Nidalee Trundle Rise.
Yeah.
Rise. It got baited and it went badly. Ooh.
Okay.
You were talking about this in the last Champion Select, about the options you can go, whether it's the Ezreal for the safe farming or
Right.
the Caitlyn for the lane bully. Caitlyn Janna, going to be a bully in the lane.
Yes.
In that sense. Also pretty good for tower pushing if you want to go for that. So we may see a lane swap come out if the bottom lane for 4G can't really take the 2 versus 2. So we'll see exactly how this goes. Sorry, the bottom lane for G2V if they want to get the push
Correct,
on
yeah,
for
yeah.
themselves.
So awaiting the next 2 pickups coming in from Team Forge. Victor's still available for the mid lane, and what else is there really? LeBlanc as well, kind of what we've mentioned. A lot of mid bans, of course, as per usual. Alistar, I would not be surprised to see, as he has played that, I think, in almost every single game that he's played after coming back after Den. And Echo, usually, I think like at the start, we were like, oh yeah, Echo, good pick. And then went 2 and 6, and we're like, oh, Echo, kind of risky pick. But they're going to pick it regardless. We saw it go jungle yesterday. And with Trundle being picked up, that could go into the bot lane, Echo go to the top lane.
Yeah, that's what I'd expect.
Yeah.
That's the
Or
one I'd
changes.
expect. There is the double flex possibility, which is like, I don't
Echo
really...
jungle was really good yesterday.
It did, and people were playing
Which
Echo Jungle
surprised
for a long time. North America were playing Echo Jungle for quite a while before all of the buffs happened.
Yeah.
Thinking back to Summer Split last year, so back when Echo had a little bit less tankiness, a little bit more AP.
Yeah.
He was still
There's
able
been
to
like a
go
full
tank.
split since we've seen a whole
Yeah.
lot of that.
Yeah, exactly. So G2V, they're going to have to blind pick their mid laner right now. Victor not available because it's taken by 4G.
Yep.
So it's not blind pick at all. I'm blind in the pick phase. Victor already in. It's a LeBlanc.
Yeah. LeBlanc going to pick into the...
Look, sometimes it's a little slow. The brain's got to catch
I mean,
up with
it's kind
what's
of far
going
down
on.
on the screen. Could have, thought it was in the bands.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
dear.
Irelia? Is that Irelia? I haven't seen you in so long. It's been
Wait,
so
it's-
long since I've seen an Irelia. I was like, your splash shot has changed. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Irelia.
So top lane? Top
Okay.
lane.
Wow. Irelia top lane now into Trundle because that allowed them to have that flex. So the Alistar now goes into support. You were right on the Echo Jungle, by the way.
I don't know if I wanted to be right, though.
So Trundle into Irelia in the top lane. So if ever there was a duelist matchup, that would be it. Not one that we see very commonly at all. I'm interested to see what Aurelia's build is going to be. But
Yeah.
this is, pretty strong sense of push when you look at it. When G2V get the Caitlyn through the game, get themselves the ability to kind of stick as a 4-man pack, and then have the Aurelia on the side lane. Not actually 100% on that matchup between the Aurelia and the Trundle. You would
Is
imagine
anyone?
Subjugate plays into it as a factor. And takes away a lot of what Aurelia has now that you can't QSS it off. On the other side, you got the Lucian, you got the Alistar, you got the Victor. Oh, surprise, it's 4G running some sense of a team fighting comp.
Shocking. Not like we've seen that one
Or
before.
at least
but they do it
they're
well.
good at it.
Yeah, they do it very well. G2V with this Irelia. I mean, Sendo, he's had some good games. He's got a good track record, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. But yeah, Irelia we just don't expect to see anymore. Irelia, funny enough, actually received some buffs a couple patches ago. And then we were like, what, Irelia buffs? But it never really brought her back into contention.
Yeah.
And now playing against a Trundle, so we shall see. I
Well-
just think she'll get wrecked by the Trundle early game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of exactly when she's going to win.
Yeah, it also depends what she maxes, because
Right.
she could max hit-hand style or go for the E with the Equilibrium Strike. Probably in that late... I don't know.
All I'd say is it wouldn't be a team trying to get into EU Challenger Series without playing an Aurelia game. EU Challenger, the home
Nice
of
meme.
Aurelia. If you've ever wanted to watch Kuban or Wicked or any of the other Irelia, like ex-Irelia mains playing,
actually.
this is where we... this is where they hang out for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, pretty much, it's like, pretty much everyone.
It's one of those things, like, every region has their nuances in pick and ban, and EU Challenger is the Irelia region, where, you know, if you're not quite sure what to pick, just pick Irelia in the top lane, and it goes well.
Got it.
Doesn't even matter if
doesn't
it's
matter about the meta, doesn't matter about the year.
It's okay, we'll just play Irelia every game.
Perfect. Well, both going to go for the refillable potion start with the Corrupting Potion. Out of the jungle, Inkos is going to be on that Kindred. Looks like we're going to have a lane swap, though. As Sendo is in the top, or the bottom side of the map.
Well, Janna Kate, pretty good at the old push. You get the Piltover out, you got the Tornado as well, the extra damage. So, we'll see how that one goes. Alistair already looking to stop any kind of jungle starts. You can see his pathing, going to go in through the bottom side jungle. Look down for the bottom for the Krugs. He's a little bit late, though. Now going to match them on the... Oh, gets double knockup.
The unseen cow. Double knockup.
Thunderlord.
Maybe.
He's running Thunderlords.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So not running the defensive one. I saw the lightning strike and I'm like, no. Gets the pulverize auto with the passive as well. And
I didn't even notice because I've seen that a lot. Because, you know, I play it.
Yeah, I know you play it, but we don't always see it.
Standard.
I mean, we do see it sometimes.
Rarely, though.
Rarely, but Thunderlords ignite Alistair, just go in there, get in their face. It's Pulse has got a big smile on his face right now, thinking about
great.
Thunderlord's ignite. All we're missing is a Lich Bane coming out on this Alistair, and that's kind of you in a nutshell.
Pretty much. Unfortunately, he hasn't gone for Spell Thieves, because then you can go like Frost Queen's Claim into like full AP, but he's not going to do that this game. Mid lane's going to be trading off, and LeBlanc versus Victor, so there could be a bit of action, but Jizuki's decided to pick up the barrier, so...
Man, so held that minion wave so far away from the turret there that there was no way it was going to get aggro. Pushed all the way through, so obviously Caitlyn with that Piltover, very proficient at clearing out the wave, have that headshot for extra damage as well. Look at how fast that turret has already started dropping. On the other side of the map, it's still well above half health here, so this is the advantage of having the Caitlyn, having the Janna that we talked about in Champ Select, that push potential.
It's pretty good, and also with Irelia as well, being an attack-based champion, so going to be chunking this down real fast, and yeah, so going to be a little bit of a tempo advantage over to G2V, going to be taking away this minion wave here.
Now, do 4G go back and go for the Dragon, which we've seen a couple of teams do after the first turret, or what is going to be more commonly seen, I think, is now that we swap and change the lanes around, it'll be after the second set of tower pushes that the Dragon will go down to G2V, you would assume. But that is obviously a low sample size of games. But that is generally assumed to be what analysts are talking about of how the pace of the game is going to go. But mid lane, Taiki wants to accelerate the pace of the game in the mid lane. Miniduke already senses that he's around, backs himself away.
Unfortunately, he was playing on the top side of the lane, so it was very difficult to get the gank off out from Taiki. Inkos is going to head down as well and probably try and soak up some of this minion wave because it is pushing in to Miniduke, so I'm going to try and even out a little bit. Miniduke actually going to TP back to lane. Interesting. Early on into this one. 4 minutes in. There's a TP into the top lane from Mimic.
Well, Jizuki doesn't actually have TP, so he's now able to... You know, there's no real sense of TP advantage, because anytime Miniduke has his up, they have TP advantage from the mid laners specifically. Bottom lane, though, look at this. 4G brought their duo lane back down to bottom, so there is no second phase of the tower pushing. It's Ocean Drake that has spawned, so at this point 4G don't want to give over the priority on that Drake straight away. They don't want to just lose it for nothing. So they say, okay, let's have standard lanes. We know our Trundle is going to be able to deal with this, because look at the damage!
I mean, this is what we expected, right? The flash, the first blood, the grasp proc into Chomp. And that was just perfectly played by Mimic, knowing the amount of damage he could do, and that's Irelia for you.
Man, Mimic just punished Sendu for not having backed properly. I mean, Sendu hadn't gone at all, didn't have any potion stacks really available, didn't have secondary items as follow-up, and Mimic TPing into the top lane, Sendu did not respect it. Bottom lane, there's a high trade.
Eva's going to come in there. You can see the Thunderlord proc off. Gap going to come in as well. He's going to flash after. There's no tower to save him, even with the exhaust. Falco, he wants blood though, and what's Eva gone? He's actually just left his ADC to die.
Heaver's scared of the follow-up Janna damage that's going to come from that. Backs himself away. All summoners, apart from Falco's Flash, were used in that engage in the bottom lane. And, I mean, that's... I mean, you've got to say, at that point, like, Gap trading for So... Gap gets the advantage because he's the one that gets the kill, puts the pressure down onto So, but So had the farm advantage as it was. But look at the back timing for So. This is actually going to make it fairly rough for him. He's aiming for Zeal first. Typically on Caitlyn, you want to be able to get BF Sword into the Hurricane or the Rapid Fire Cannon.
Well, Taiki's found Sendo in the top lane and looks like he's taken a trip back to base the faster way. He goes down for the second kill over to Mimic.
Man, that is rough. As in Aurelia, you get killed in lane because you didn't back and TP, then you TP into lane, get killed again as a jungler ganks you. This is not a good start for G2V. When you look at when and where they want to fight on this map, the only real person that is any situation to do so is going to be Miniduke. And we have to watch that because he's not really going to have too much kill pressure against Barrier Victor that has Taiki hanging around his lane 3 times already before the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, Miniduke does have his Distortion available and the Flash, but he's playing towards the top side of the lane once again with parallel convergence coming in. Yeah, not going to make it this time around. Too
easy to read at that point. Sendu's reverting to trying to jungle a little bit, was looking to get the... Ooh,
wow,
Jizuki
going in, and Jizuki's going to return the damage. Not going to be quite enough to finish off either mid laner.
Nerves of steel though by Jizuki, holding on to his barrier that entire time. Miniduke wants to go in, should not get barrier baited. That would be rough.
Yeah, very much so. Because maybe he just assumed that he used it in that trade because the damage came down very quickly. So it's like, maybe I just bursted through it.
The optimist.
Yeah. Glass is half full after all.
I can burst him completely.
Yeah. Not today, unfortunately, for LeBlanc. Victor good at playing back in that lane. Mimic is going to be walking on up to the top side of his lane. Incast is going to take away his pink ward, and Mimic is not very happy about that, so he's going to hit him with his Trojan. And with Taiki coming in, this could very well be a kill. Incast, no level 6. In moves a parallel convergence. Sendo again gets stunned by parallel convergence before 4G back away.
Decent damage in reply. Sendu, having so much health left, was really a threat there against Taiki, so have to be careful. Bottom lane, kind of an interesting interaction. Caitlyn and Janna, even though the jungle was on the top side, couldn't really afford to push up. They don't have a turret, so they have to be careful that nobody comes down. They did have the information, but at the same time, there was nothing really more to be gained as they were pushing towards 4G. Had to recall, got Caitlyn that Zeal, but again, she's going to have lane dominance to push it up to this point, but they will not extend further than this without proper warding. They have warding in the river, though. Keep an eye on that. They've got one where the crab is and one in the brush, so they're fairly safe for now. But it's a tentative moment for G2V.
Hiva is going in on So, lands the full combo, and he's actually going to pick up the kill. Gap is going to use the cutting, but again, Falco might be able to pick up the kill himself. This time isn't able to get in range and has the positioning on Gap. That Howling Gale was probably didn't want to eat that one to the face, and Hiva's very angry. He's going to smash the ground.
Echo spotted LeBlanc on the way down, though, so G2V should not be able to completely collapse.
Taiki's getting a good amount of damage onto Miniduke because he walked back into his mid lane. But yeah, good executed 2v2 in the bot side.
Right there, it's just the difference between 4G and So having damage on their AD carries. Lucian is made to trade with his abilities at this kind of point in the game. Very easy to land the double tap passive off the piercing light, get all of these sources of damage, whereas Caitlyn, auto attack based, has a Zeal, no flat AD, relying on later game crit, does not really have the damage without the ability to sit back and get headshot after headshot as harassment first this early. Her laning phase is oppressive because it's continuous, not burst.
Incast, he is just going to drop. He can't even get out of the gravity field to use an Am's Respite, so that will be the kill right into the Dragon for 4G. It will be the first one of the game, which will be the Ocean Dragon over for that team. Also to speak about how much damage Hiva does, like he went in for the combo with Thunderlords, and that was like almost half of his health with the Ignite.
That's the other side of that. Yeah. Keep reminding me, please, because...
Right. Oh, no, I will.
I know you will. So that's the other side of that. Somebody's already probably tweeting me that it's just like, it was the Alistair damage. And I'm like, oh, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Completely fair.
Well, hey, the knowledge of playing AP Alistair actually helps right now because you can go for the combo and auto get the proc off because of your passive with Trample.
Yep.
So you just go land 2 spells and then you get the passive regardless without even having to auto attack them. So that is one of the strengths of going Thunderlords and Alistair. So now
Thanks,
you know.
Pulse.
No problem.
I do wonder what direction he's gone through to Thunderlords. This is where he's like skipped out everything like dangerous game and the mana regen and everything, and it's gone for like damage, assassin and like damage against enemies that are under 40% executioner, that kind of thing. Like, just gone all the way down the tree and it's like, I'm going to get this once.
I'm going to get this. At late game, he's going to sell all of his items and go AP. Mimic, well, he's just got the upper hand in this lane still. He's got the 2-level advantage on Zen, though. It's very difficult to play. Look, he's actually just doubled his farm in the top lane.
Another kind of different thing, although this is the more regular thing when you look at bottom lane, but is becoming non-standard. So opts for maxing Q. Is Falco actually just trying to take the small ones here?
I think so, yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Heaver and Gat must be laughing so hard right now. That's just waiting a little bit. That is actually cruel. And Falco will have to flash away, use Monsoon, and expend all of his mana and the flash.
He even thought they had that. He didn't ignite. Yeah, they actually could have got that, I think.
Maybe.
Ignite, maybe another auto. Yeah, it wouldn't have been enough for the Ignite on his zone.
Yeah, but they would have been committing more summoners where they didn't have to burn anything.
And then Falco would have had to exhaust the Alistair to stop the damage. Yeah.
Oh. No, another person walking into a death rush. But this time, Shizuki, maybe he's calling him. Mini Duke and Zeno coming out there. Taiki's coming into this one. And now he's also 1v3. He doesn't want this. This is a prank, bro. He's going to go back into the top lane and keep killing this turret.
That is not a cool prank.
No,
that's yeah. Damn, YouTube prank generation.
Yeah, apparently.
We've just had a couple of weird plays in this game.
Yeah, we did.
Just people walking into bushes and sitting there and waiting for people. Now Heaver wants a 2v1 in the mid lane against 2 carries nonetheless.
Heaver's fine. He's got his ultimate still.
Yeah.
Remember, it's only 50% damage reduction now compared to the good old 75%, which it used to be. And before that was even more crazy, so...
Funny thing is, it's only at level 16 that he even gets it back up to 70, and it's just like, when do you ever see supports level 16? Oh, Gap!
Didn't land the chains, otherwise that would have been dead. Perfect shield.
That's how you want to do it.
Yeah.
By the way. Dangerous with a LeBlanc around, but the Alistair could pulverize if you tried to dash through. At least we didn't have the 3 Stooges, which is where people just run around and it just swings through the middle.
Yeah, it's like the thing where it's just like when you bump into someone and it's like you go left and they also go left and it's like
the dance, it's the worst.
Exactly, and that's like that, but that's fatal if you that in game.
Yeah, I've never really had that one where like at the end of it you've got you know, critically injured.
Exactly.
Oh, Taiki.
Taiki's going to jump onto Mini Duke once again. Incast is going to go right into the fight. Chrono Break out of there.
I don't think Taiki was expecting to go that far. I thought it was nice at first, and then other people start coming across for G2V. He's like, nope.
Yep.
Chrono Break back.
Not on that one, but blue buff going over to Mini Duke in this game.
So at this point has gone for the I'm not getting flat damage right now. I'm just getting wave clear, and I'm not relevant for a long time in this game. Please don't lose too much without me with the Hurricane, which is standard, but obviously it just means he's relying now on headshots in team fights, getting multi-hits with that, clearing waves out, that kind of thing. So still need to buy a lot more time for this Caitlyn to be relevant.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see BF Sword with the Zeal, and then you'll go for the Hurricane, but
typically.
Top lane is going to go down to a push from 4G. Got to be no real response on the bot side.
Speaking of flat damage, Gap right now, opting for the old Lucian build for himself. Looking at Essence Reaver.
Interesting.
Looking at it, I'm kind of wondering why you would do that, because on the other side, apart from Irelia, who tends to build armor as his second or third item, depending on whether they're going the offensive or defensive route, there's not actually too many armor builders. I mean, Janna doesn't want to. Kindra doesn't particularly want to. Maybe an item here or there. So your ability to shred carries is fairly high. I'm looking at actual benefits for being crit-based in this game over... it will obviously give you the later game ability to kind of hang somewhat with some of the damage, but Caitlyn will ultimately outscale you.
Interesting.
Weird one.
Yeah, because in the mid game, he'd be basically dealing true damage to like everybody.
And you got a Victor to deal with the late game part.
Exactly. and split push from Trundle, so it's not like you need it, but I guess we'll see if it works out.
I mean, at the same time, the build is still strong. Like, it's still fine.
Yeah, it's not a bad build, it's just there are alternatives. Taiki, by the way, picked up a glimpse of the Void, so giving it again to the jungler.
Now, that's a little surprising, because I would have thought it would go over to Mimic.
Because he is a split pusher in this game.
And he wants to duel at the same time. It's just like, oh, they've got an Irelia.
Then again, he doesn't need it, because he's 2-0,
true.
and he's wrecking Sendo in that lane, so it's just like, they're so confident they're giving it to Taiki.
That is true. Sendo not quite at that Trinity Force point himself. Mimic right now stuck on 2 halves of items. Ardent Blaze is going to find Mini Duke.
Eva's coming for you.
That's ambitious.
He still wants it.
I don't think you want that.
Walk the cow.
Although they didn't know Kindred was around. So maybe they wanted it when it was a 1v2.
Yeah.
It's,
oh, Mountain Dragon. Taiki. Ah, he sees him on the ward, over the wall. What? Actually got the stun? Are you kidding me? As he was in the animation of Dance of Arrows.
Oh, that's painful if you're in
legit unlucky.
Whew. I mean, that's the timing.
Yeah.
As soon as you're halfway through, if you're still in that hitbox, you're gonna get caught. Unfortunate for Inkos, but still, the damage that came out from Jizuki there, just Q auto and poof.
Oh, Echo only needs seconds after all, but I'm gonna see So coming out here. He's gonna be onto these Raptors, and not again. He This time he's brought a new friend with him. He's gonna be warding up, be waiting for someone to go into the jungle. Mini Duke is in the bottom lane. He's going to burn stuff against Gap, and Gap's going to be like, alright, here are my friends. Hiva comes into the bottom lane. There's the combo. There's the culling. Taiki going to be following after. He's already dead. It was all a setup.
Kind of a rough game for G2V right now when you look at it. No real... Oh, wow.
Falco with the moves.
Insect.
Actually, maybe that's not so good. He's going to be jumping away here with the flash, and Inkos also uses the burns, the flash to come in here. Uses the barrier. He's still alive. Sando finds the first kill of the game. Inkos, he's going to jump out of his own circle. Maybe he shouldn't have done that because Mimic is looking for the kill. He's still alive. Gets a little bit of health back.
Or Taiki.
Taiki comes in. He's out. And now Sendo is also low. He might want to go back in here. Hiva, he's looking for a combo. He has his Thunderlords all charged up. But now he wants to back away to the tower.
Still got his ult. He may be able to kill... no, okay. I'm looking at it. I'm like, does he have the damage
flash,
to kill Sendo? Taiki wants it.
Not anymore. But they've got to be... They actually have to be scared of Hiva and his burst. Because he's going to come in. He goes onto Sendo. Now they back away.
They do back away. It was all a bit of a distraction because bot lane, Lucian was pushing up. Unfortunately, didn't get the tower for Lucian. Minion wave ran out before they were close enough to get it. About quarter of the health just under left. It's Mini Duke that is now clearing that out. They sent Caitlyn top to get that wave, I would imagine. You kind of... Or Caitlyn mid, I guess, is the way. Yeah, Caitlyn has to defend mid tower. Aurelia has to go top. That's... what exactly they're doing.
This is cool from Falco.
This is cool. Wave dance pushes him back.
Yeah.
And Jizuki right now just manages to get himself out of this for a while. Put a good bit of damage down. Look at how squishy Sendu was. He took the death ray and pretty much lost about 300 health just straight up there. Inkos thinks he's out, but Taiki comes in on a weird angle, flash into the phase dive. That blink with the auto attached. Easy peasy and easy pickings at that point. Jizuki looking for another fight.
Before. Not with this scenario. Falco is very low, but he's actually still living. Inkos has found Taiki. Mini Duke's there as well. So is looking to follow after. Is not even needed. Taiki is very dead in that engagement. So that should have been a 1-for-1, but of course he was still in that bush. Mini Duke's instantly gonna jump back to where he was. You've done it enough times then, now, that you would have thought that they would be more cautious around that one push.
You know, I must commend G2V somewhat at this point, because G2 Vodafone sure have a lot of 4G coverage on this bottom side jungle.
Yep.
I've been waiting a week and a half to talk about this game. I saved it for 20 minutes, Pulse.
I just knew it was coming. Hiva, he's gonna...
he survived.
There's been a lot of supports living on, like, very low HP.
Oh, so finally feels like he's confident enough with everybody else bot side to try and do something.
Oh, okay. He's gonna set up another push. Gonna wait here for a second. Incos run! Okay, he's good. It's funny because they're setting up all these plays and it looks really goofy, but actually this game matters a lot for 4G, because if they win this, they're locked in first seed. And G2V are really just trying to upset them at this point. Mimic is... Incos is getting a lot of damage onto 3 targets. He's also going to receive the shield help from Falco.
Where's the dash forward? Mimic.
Got him. And that was a mark.
Gets punished, gets charged for roaming down to the bottom lane.
Oh no. It's like you just realized that this was a game.
I actually did about 2 minutes ago. I was like, I've been waiting for this my entire
Brings out the
life.
notebook. It is a perfect opportunity, though. Yeah, yellow pages. Jesus. Inglas is going to fall off the Taiki, but it's going to be the end of that small skirmish. It's just too easy. There's like so many.
I saw this on paper and I was like, nah, that's not real.
I wish it was a higher stakes game as well, but it is for 4G, but G2V unfortunately out of contention for Challenger Series.
And if G2V were to win this, as we look for a fight...
Well, Hiva comes in, good interrupt, but So is still dead.
If G2V were to win this game, it would put us in a bit of a kind of like one of those crazy scenarios where there's the potential for 4 teams to be tied. If 4G win this, there's a lot simpler outcomes because 4G lock themselves at the top.
Yeah.
So certainly is the way forward, and that's because of the head-to-heads.
Yeah. At the most, people would be fighting over second.
Yeah.
Mini Duke. I didn't think that was enough damage after missing the first distortion. I was wrong. Jizuki is taking a lot of damage in from Incos. Sendo's coming out as well, looking for those blades to come through. And the last one was not quite enough to finish off Jizuki, but I think 4G need to be a little bit scared of G2V's composition now.
Somewhat. I mean, they got a lot of catch and chase when you look at, like... I was going to say a lot. They've got a fair amount of burst, and then you can lock down single targets fairly well, even while they're running away. I mean, Incos has gone for a frozen mallet, which you don't normally see. Yeah. Interesting build. It is going to give them a little bit of presence when it comes to chasing people down. G2V don't have a whole lot of ways to actually start fights, though. That's the difficulty. They've got ways of disengaging. You've got the Janna, and in that sense, you can get yourself out of a fight, but actually getting into a fight is going to be tough.
The next one will be Infernal. That's Ocean Dragon. Was that an Ocean Dragon? What was that just picked up?
Yeah, it was an Ocean Dragon.
Okay, good.
I was talking with my mute button on.
Not going crazy.
Like,
yeah, I could hear you.
It's okay. Maybe that's the better way. The viewers don't have to listen to my awful cellular puns.
Perhaps. G2V, come in here. And yeah, so G2V, their composition is really good in like skirmish fights. Like, if you like pair any two of like Kindred, Irelia, and LeBlanc, they're probably gonna win in that scenario because they have like so much single target damage. They have a lot of chase potential, and a lot of it's up front as well. However, if you're called out by Taiki, it's gonna walk for it. He's fine. Because Sendo is in a really good position now. He's building towards the Ghost Blade, and he's got the Triforce, and that's the core from Irelia. She just goes tank after that.
I remember, you know, we used to see Aurelia's go Ghost Blade. You see Aurelia's go Blade of the Ruin King. You used to see the Ghost Blade a lot when, or at least in games here and there when it used to have crit on it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it has a whole bunch of attack speed.
Yeah, just not crit.
A lot of nice things, not crit. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect her presence, because that kind of build where you didn't go Randuin second, which was the other common build on Irelia, always meant that if you got into team fights, you sucked.
Yeah.
Because you basically got locked down and then blown up. If you couldn't go between two carries, whoa, damage!
Jizuki going to be backing away, so he's going to have to flash out of the Chaos Storm. Incos coming in onto Taiki. He'll flash after, or come in with the Dance of Arrows rather. Nice ace in the hole onto Suzuki to finish him off. Falco is going to be staying alive here with Incos.
Ooh, Incos.
And Mimic is going to be backing away. Taiki is split it from the rest of his team. And he'll jump back in onto Falco. Great parallel convergence will find the next kill. Chrono break back to safety. And while all of this is happening, as a 3 versus 5, and 4G are pushing in the bottom lane. That was only a 1-for-1.
The Chrono Break actually dodged out the chains there that could have turned around that at the end. In comes Mini Duke.
Nice knock up in from Hiva. Gap will find him and return a lot of damage. Comes out with another sigil. Incos looking for the follow-up. He does have the slowdown with the frozen mallet. Gap is going to have to run out of here, and Hiva will probably not be so lucky. And that will be another mark picked up from Inkos.
And 4G is starting to lose a little bit of the hold that they had on this game here. G2 Vodafone are starting to pick themselves up in this game. I mean, man, Taiki now trying to come down into the jungle, backed himself away over the dragon wall. I mean, that fight right there, so many people on G2V dropped low and should really have been cleaned up by 4G, but they just couldn't get it. They couldn't really extend further into that fight because Heaver and Gap were down on the bottom side. Still, the fight continues.
Chasing onto Taiki this time. There's another mark on top of him. Sendo really wants to pick up this kill because that will benefit both him and Inkos. Inkos gets another mark. That's another 1-for-1, but Inkos is getting big. He's got 6 sacks in this game.
Yeah, he is becoming huge. I mean, in that Sendu died at the end to the Victor damage that burst out and took him down. We were talking about how this Irelia build would kind of change the focus. If, as an Irelia with a Ghost Blade, you can get onto multiple squishy targets, you are fine in a team fight. But as soon as you get locked down, you don't really have the survivability to get through it if you don't have the dash available, if you can't flash out of a fight, that kind of thing. But Sendu keeps, you know, assisting on these kills, a couple that he's been involved in the last couple of minutes where he's been on carries, getting the damage down, somebody else cleans it up.
I think you've just got to really start being concerned about Inkos. He's got 7 stacks, which translates to 8.75% current health damage, which is a lot in itself, plus the Blood Razor, which is another 4% max health. So he's going to be hitting targets real hard, and we saw that from last game as well.
Yeah, he really is. And as we rewatch this, this is the pick in the jungle. So as you can see, Inkos, the damage that's going to come from him onto Taiki. Eventually, Taiki burns down, just getting that Transcendent Blades from Sendu to clip him down, and just takes him low enough. The return damage from Jizuki, though, you cannot underestimate it. Taiki is going to be okay. He's got the Alistair there. But I want to take a minute. I'm really not actually so keen on Gap's build now. He's fairly low damage in comparison. Yes, the PD is going to provide him a source of crit and attack speed. So that still does make up, but he's not got an Infinity Edge to enhance his crits yet, and he's got Hex Drinker as a third item to try and stay alive. Against a Caitlyn who has now had a lot of time, has Infinity Edge, has almost the Rapid Fire Cannon as well, doesn't really have to build. The Last Whisper as a third item, can delay it till the 4th because you want that Rapid Fire Cannon. Is going to start out putting a lot of damage. Now you can control areas with traps, you can control through team fights, get multiple headshot procs on people. There's a whole lot more damage that So has right now than potentially Gap. So even has a level advantage.
I mean, 4G, it looks so good for them in the early game. It's like top lane was getting crushed and Mimic was just pushing in. They even gave a glimpse of the Void to Taiki, but now the buffs are starting to wear off and they're not looking as good as they were. However, they still have a really good team fighting composition, so if they can get into these fights against G2V, where they force G2V to group as 5, then they'll be stronger. Because all of these wins and all these fights that are going well for G2V are all skirmishes. They're all like 2v2s, all 3v3s, and they're just playing to their strengths, and 4G haven't forced G2V to do anything other than that. And
but look at this damage.
that's horrible to deal with.
I mean, yes, it's a support that didn't pop the ultimate yet, but still, Inkos is really punishing people, and if they don't get the Caitlyn in these fights, that's going to become a real issue, and that means now you've got to deal with a Kindred and a Caitlyn, both dealing damage. You've got Miniduke, able to burst down the Lucian in the fights fairly easily, despite the Hex Drinker.
Look how fast these objectives fall as well, with Inkos' % damage and so. So that will be another dragon going over. So what do they have currently? They have an Ocean Dragon and an Infernal Dragon. Pretty good pairing.
Pretty nice. Means that they can harass down pretty effectively, back themselves away, not take damage, and regen back up if they do take any. So there is a difficulty for 4G that really has opened up in the last couple of minutes. Like, I was close to starting to count G2V out in this game. When there was a larger advantage, I was thinking, okay, well, I don't know whether G2V are going to have the time to get So back into this game. But 4G, those few fights that felt like deja vu in the mid lane, where G2V actually got themselves a bit of a beneficial trade, when the Lucian and the Alistair were continually pushing bottom lane instead of kind of assisting in the middle lane, that's when this game really started to slow down.
Well, all the carries are so well built now from G2V. That's the concerning part. Miniduke, though, if he gets caught out, that would be maybe not so good. He's going to try and get away here with the distortion. Jizuki, he's still trying to chase after and try and juke once again, but unfortunately the power transfer will follow him Taiki is going to charge up the parallel convergence, but Evan's going to step away. Good Monsoon, but Heaver's going to find the combo regardless onto Sendo. Incas, he's going to be carrying away 2-0 to 4G. That's the fight they needed.
And Sendo just cannot survive, even from the damage coming from Echo. Caitlyn peacefully farming up in the top side, pushing that tower through. Lucian is up there. Looks like the rest of 4G want to collapse. So's going to basically sacrifice himself for that tower. He's not going to get the kill off that, but gets the tower and puts the damage down on Lucian, soaking up time. 4G are in two minds about what they want to do, thinking about collapsing, knowing they have to deal with the Caitlyn, but they start the Baron at the same time. G2 Vodafone, they're going to try and collapse here.
And now Incos will try and find the punish here, along with Falco, and Falco's fine with supporting. What is even going on? So is just in the middle of nowhere, and Incos is going to flash over this pillar real quick. Try and jump over the wall down to Arrows. He may also be out as well. Taiki tries to get into the parallel convergence, gets a slowdown, and Jizuki's there as well. Incos will go into Lamstra's Spite, and Taiki's so low, but he'll go into the Chrono Break as Sendo comes into the fight. And this is starting to turn in 4G's favor, or maybe not. A 1-for-1 trade. Heaver will bite the dust. So's now chasing after Mini Duke as well as leading down Mimic. They'll find the next kill with the Sigil. Gap over the wall. He's trying to put a bit of damage down, but the clone will block it out from Mini Duke. That was a 2-for-2 overall.
And for the most part, there were no AD carries involved in that entire fight. Had either side had theirs there, they would have been able to take it. But now you can see Gap has to give respect over to the range that So has in these fights. You cannot afford to be in Caitlyn auto-attack range without being able to trade, and Gap has to completely back away from the situation before he can make anything happen. You can see G2V still wanting to fight and giving 4G the runaround all the way around the map, was able to delay it. 4G did not decisively collapse on the Caitlyn and allowed her to escape while they fought G2V, and man, that was a weird set of events that happened. Trying to chase a Caitlyn, starting Baron at the same time.
Yeah. What a bizarre game.
Not crisp on the decision making.
Well, let's take a look at that last replay, and this is the indecision following into just 4G getting chased down.
So Incos already chunks the tanks out from 4G from here. Taiki has lost a little bit of his health and ultimately will lose more, but it's Incos that overextends here, has to flash away and then go over the wall. Yeah, great pillar out coming from the top laner of Mimic right there. So Incos takes up more time though. Again, it's soaking time from 4G, buys the time for the TP to come in from Mini Duke, who can come in and start to even up a little bit more of this fight. Sendu barely manages to get himself involved in that mix and ends up falling from it. As we said, very squishy Irelia. Has damage, but can't really afford to stick around for too long in these fights. And from there, Lucian had to pull back away. We're straight into another fight.
Well, Taiki's going to jump over the wall. Incos is following after. Sendo's coming in there, and that's just a kill onto Taiki. He goes down, a 1-0. Jizuki and Gap also in full retreat. Heaver was forced to the top side and will also look for the recall. He's got a ward into the Baron pit as G2V are looking to push down the mid lane. This is looking to be a little bit precarious from G2V, or from 4G rather, because G2V are pushing into the base and just going to take the inhibitor tower and the inhibitor itself. This is rapidly going up a creek that 4G do not want it to.
There's no paddles.
There's no paddles. There's nothing.
And what even makes this more difficult at this point is this Caitlyn, who really should be behind from how this game started. Laning phase put so far out. Now is at a very comfortable situation. Has the Lord Dominic's regards, can deal with the tanks very effectively. On top of that, Falco, playing selfless, has gone, okay, Zeke's Harbinger, you've got this. Just crit everything all the time. You're going to have the damage. Oh, Incos, that's not good.
Good combo from Heaver. Incos may get away, actually. He's got the ultimate.
Nah.
Okay, never mind.
Nah, mate. That was optimism if ever I've heard it. False. Surrounded. Oh, damage comes out from Mini Duke.
Oh, Mini Duke is absolutely dead. Falco is going to try and get away from that storm, which is still surging away. 4G now onto the Baron. Going to lock and load. Taiki's going to block on this ace in the hole. Sendu, it's up to the side. They'll maybe try and get a steal. It's going to have to be from a blade coming out from Sendo. Mimic now chasing down Falco, and So is taking down the blue buff. He should be able to get it in time. Got those crits coming out. But that was 2 kills and the Baron, so 4G regaining control over this game.
Pings onto the Elder Drake that is about to spawn. We just crested the 35-minute mark, giving us the first spawn of an incredibly large dragon. We need the Dovahkiin in here to deal with this. That is going over to 4G. No real chance of a steal. Oh, this is what Aurelia's do at this point in the game. It's like, hey guys, I can't really affect team fights anymore. I'm just going to try and split push and try and get anything I can.
Enhanced recalls, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would have been great. An extra 4 seconds probably would have resulted in most of that turret going down.
Pop that Ghost Blade, just
actually,
whacking away.
Yeah, the Ghost Blade will take down towers very quickly, especially when you activate hit and style for the Sheen proc as well onto towers. Lots of damage, but
got that armor pen built in there as
also
well.
true onto the towers. Wow,
shred them down.
Yeah, tower destroying mechanics out from Sender. If only you could hit it. But for 4G with the Elder Dragon and the Baron and the one-team fight are in a much better position now. G2V were creeping up on them for a good like 15 minutes, but
finally got extra damage on the Lucian. Infinity Edge.
Okay, perfect. Now it's all starting to multiply. G2V are pretty well built themselves. And Mini Duke, that's a bit wonky. Taiki's going to jump onto Inkos. He's going to pop his ultimate. Jizuki's also low, so is Gap. Seno really wants him. He's going to pop the ultimate. That Hiva is into the back lines, looking for this combo onto So. Mimic is trying to wander around in circles, looking for someone to hit. Mini Duke is going to jump away with Flash. Mimic's going to come in there, doesn't quite pick up the kill. Taiki jumping onto Sendo. Sendo now into his Guardian Angel. That's all the tank as he needs. He's going to get slowed down. 3 for 1. G2V getting ahead.
The Caitlyn damage and the ability of G2V to burst down with the LeBlanc. They've got the Aurelia that chased Gap the entirety out of that fight. I mean, there was a massive set of damage that started right at the beginning of that fight. Burst down Gap. Burst down, I believe it was Jizuki at the same time, right in the middle of that lane. And, I mean, we've still got 35 seconds on the Victor death timers. Taiki and Gap are up. I don't think they can close here. Is this going to be a push back on the Baron minions? The solo laners have gone to the side lanes right now. There's no objective for G2V to really take.
Do you think maybe they could have committed harder? Because they had super minions and TP on Mini Duke and Sendo, who were the 2 people coming from base. And they had the push already set up from the team. With 35 seconds left on the Victor and Mimic.
I mean, that's a precarious moment just because the minion wave wasn't already in the base, if that makes sense, because the fight happens here around the middle lane. You can see Jizuki gets burst down and Gap there. Inkos is the one that does most of that damage to start things off. From here, So is kind of distracted by Hiva, so it's actually not so much the Caitlyn damage for the majority. We didn't catch Sendu chasing Gap, but Sendu can't quite get onto his target, but is enough to deal with the remaining members in the middle lane here. Taiki forced to back away. He knows that even with the Guardian Angel, even with the parallel convergence there, the Guardian Angel gives Sendu enough help that he can't burst him down. 4G, we said they'd come back in the game with the Baron play. May very well have just got stalled out once again, and we've seen the damage that can come from this G2V lineup.
Was not expecting a back and forth game this much coming in from these 2 teams. G2V have turned up in a big way in this game. Also, Sendo has got the Aurelia mechanics. He's clearly played a lot of that champion because he jumped to like 2 minions, then jumped onto the Victor with his Q there. So
the thing is, we are at the point where Aurelia like Qs a minion and it dies anyway.
True.
So, I give you the credit. Just, she's looking for the path. That's true. That's
but it wasn't cast a minion, so it doesn't benefit. But still, yes, he does one-shot minions pretty much.
It's always funny because that's when you feel powerful and then you run out of mana. It's like, I jumped to 7 minions and now I've run out. I can't
just all of it up. But yeah, Aurelia actually still does have mana issues later on into the game. But 15 kills to 18 in this game. Whoop.
It's been a...
Gap's going to take a lot of that damage. Mimp wasn't able to get in range as quickly, but now he's gone. Absolutely destroyed from G2V. 57 seconds.
I mean, this is the thing. If G2V touch one person with all of their damage, if they just get it on one person, they blow up, and then suddenly they have the numbers advantage. Inhibitor goes down. Are they actually pushing to end here? I mean, Caitlyn's looking for it. A long range here.
They have no minions.
Yeah, that's the problem here, is without mid lane pushing in, they've got to wait another 30 seconds. They do not really have a tank to push through on their own. Look at where the minion waves are, top and bottom. It's mid lane. This is somewhat risky. 4G are only 4.
They're going to go for the re-engage. Taiki, he's just dead. He didn't use the Chrono Break. He still had it available. Big ultimate out from the Victor onto 4 players. He's going to be chasing them down, so may just fall here. But Inkos keeps him alive with a Lantris bite. And with Hiva, he's looking for another combo, but they also lost their jungler.
But it's just G2V trying to force this issue when they don't really have to. Yes, they had the numbers advantage, but you've got to be careful of a Victor ult late game. It was Falco tried to even it up with the Monsoon. He's just like, I can heal you faster.
I'll heal.
I can try. There's just lasers raining down from the sky. Just a gust of wind. Don't really think Janna quite knows how physics works in that.
Laser greater than wind.
But at that point, G2V, they had no real options. Keep in mind, Baron's still not up. Elder Dragon is on a 10-minute respawn timer. No chance of that coming up anytime soon. So G2V have won like 2 trades now. 2 late game fights, and because of their side lanes being pushed in towards them, have not been able to capitalize in any meaningful way. That time they got the inhibitor down once again, but for G2V and 4G, they are just slugging it out right now.
So many kills going back and forth, and that's just like accelerated the goal totals. You can see people actually looking at 6 items right now. Most people have like a big component of their final big item, and we're rapidly getting to that point where it's going to be full builds. 41 minutes in,
Mimic.
Looking for another pick onto Mimic. He's not going to die this time. Gap's coming in from the side. Mini Duke's going to drop. This is a good fight coming in from 4G. Inkos as well on the retreat. So in from the side, landing big crit. Jizuki's going to have to back away. Sendo's looking for the same, trying to get onto the back line. Falco's coming out there, getting chased out by Taiki. He gets the slow down coming in from the Time Winder and has set up a perfect parallel conversion. Good flash from Falco. And so, we'll return with the damage. The Q's coming in, Chrono Break back to the relative safety of his team. 3 for 1, Baron is live.
4G were pulling back for the Baron. So was trying to distract Taiki, nearly got the kill on it. Somebody's probably going to have to recall for that mid wave if So forces them to take too long to do this. So has so much damage right now, and he's boxing them in, forcing the recalls in the pit.
He's already used his E, however, now Mimic's on top of his face after using the flash. So he's got a lot of return damage. Heaven's going to come out there with a great combo with the headbutt pulverize. 4 and 1, totally total in this game. G2V, Falco's just remaining. That's not gonna happen. He's gonna try his damnedest to get the steal off, but he's just a Janna.
TP coming in. If they can stop the recalls, there's super minions in the base, but G2V, to do this, they have to commit, and it would be win or lose the game on this play alone.
Gap is defending though. It's fine. They don't need to. Minidu's still going to try, but it doesn't matter as much anymore. However, they have stopped the recall from Taiki, who is low, but he's got the Chrono Break. So if he does manage to separate Falco from the pack, he might be able to pick up the kill. He was trying it, but Falco was avoiding the trail coming out, so Mini Duke will pick up the kill there. But that's 62 seconds. Death time is a real long.
I'm gonna settle down a little bit. It's very hype here. I didn't notice Gap had recalled. So from here, So can't quite get himself into the fight after the first kill. Minidu drops instantly, does almost get Gap, and Gap ends up falling to the Caitlyn shot that follows through. It's actually Aurelia that manages to take it out. So from here, G2V is starting to run out of damage. Aurelia is gone. We talked about how she cannot survive against multiple people in team fights like this. Taiki getting distracted here. G2V actually think maybe this is a godsend for them. Maybe this is what can hold them in this game, but Taiki very smartly hits his ult, goes back, and decides, okay, no, we need the Baron. What followed that was the nice attempt at the trap play from So. Problem is, didn't get the bit that you can flash out of the pit. Mimic goes over, and Caitlyn's like, oh, nuts. There's a Trundle hitting me with this ice club. How do I get away from this?
If you place 3 traps around the pit and then like 1 on top of yourself,
the little
and then like around that thing as well, so you get trapped behind, and then you get trapped when you jump over as well. But yeah, we're getting down into crit trap mechanics now.
Gap just
he just wrecked that red buff.
Pretty high attack speed.
Yeah. 5, 3, and 5. And, you know, we were saying earlier into the game, it's like, he's going for a crit build. Interesting. Maybe you should go for that mid-game build with the Black Cleaver and the Ghostblade. Well, it's late game now, so
now
it actually works out really well.
And by the way, we're actually seeing, I think it was a game earlier today, the FLICKR game, where Lucian did go the Black Cleaver build. We saw the game go 50 minutes.
Was that the Veigar game?
Lucian went, no, it was the previous series.
Okay.
So Lucian just sold his Ghostblade and sold the Black Cleaver and was just like, screw it, I'm going Infinity Edge, I'm getting like Rapid Fire Cannon, I don't care what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm late game now.
Yeah, we're like, well, when you have enough gold to do that, then it's...
as long as you keep farming, it's fine. Like, it's actually fine.
Just swap them back and forth.
Yeah, well, maybe not that. I wouldn't then go, late game, what's good for that? Early game. Pick up Doran's blades. Just like, I got it.
I got it. It's fine. Don't worry, guys. I know what I'm doing. But 19 to 22 kills. This is an example of a long late game where it's actually very interesting to watch and high intensity because we've had long games before.
10 minutes is up. Here we go.
Oh,
or not.
Okay.
So
everyone's kind of split here from Forge.
Trapping the small entrances when you can't quite trap over the bottom river bit.
I feel a storm brewing. Calling.
Oh, that didn't do much.
No, maybe I was wrong. Everyone's closing in from
Takes a long
Forge.
time to kill.
Taiki's coming in. Incos is under attack. Mini Duke off to the side. He's back to his team. Hiva is getting burnt out even through his ultimate. Incos is getting chased down. Falco of the ultimate. Seno coming out there. So is on the front lines, but that's precarious as the Caitlyn gets hit by the aftershock damage. And the Dragon's still alive. 4G turn her attention to it. Falco coming out here with Mini Duke. Baron, or rather Dragon goes down to Team Forge. Mimic gets shot down into Guardian Angel. Mini Duke looking to head back into this fight. They're trying to dip and dive. Another Q comes out, so jumps after, picks up the kill onto Mimic. Big headshot, looking to turn onto Taiki. So still ticking.
They got so!
And Taiki will not be falling quite here, but now into the Guardian Angel. Sendo is going to go down for the count. Mini Duke is looking to head onto Gap, but Gap returns fire. Taiki coming out here as well. 3 for 3. Very messy fight.
The death timers are long enough, though, that they can do a lot of damage to the base right now. Elder Drake went over to 4G, and now Lucian is wanting to push the bottom side. He's got the GA that gives him a little bit of safety. LeBlanc actually ran to the top lane to stop him pushing in a second inhibitor turret and inhibitor. Now Mini Duke has to recall. It's going to be the first inhib going over on the bottom side. Gap is going to have so much damage on this, it should just fall over. Doesn't matter about the Janna shield. Can they take further, though? They can't actually get it.
But
Mini
the minions,
Duke's here in
there's
time.
a lot of minions. 317 gold over to Mini Duke. That's actually a kill's worth he just picked up.
And Inkos was up. That's the other key factor. It wasn't quite enough time for 4G to be able to get it. Even though there's a GA on Gap, he doesn't want to die here. Otherwise, it just pretty much gives G2V the ample opportunity to run up the mid lane and maybe look to end the game.
Man, still haven't cracked that base of G2V. Wow, the middle inhibitor has gone down for Team Forge. We're 47 minutes into this game, and 90,000 gold for Team Forge. Got those 5 towers up to 7. And Dragons have kind of gone back and forth in this game, and even though the Elder Dragon went over to 4G, they probably won't be able to squeeze another push out of that one. 1,800 damage crit in from So onto that Wolf. He's hurting quite a lot. Welcome to late game Caitlyn, who just sold her boots and now has a full damage build.
Yeah, Phantom Dancer on top of it. So if Taiki gets onto him, we'll reduce a lot of that damage if the Trundle gets there as well. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Pulse, day 1 of CSQ group stage, you and Vedius casted a 63-minute game. It was between 4G and ESG, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
4G wanting to go out the same way they came into this, saying, hey, I'm going to make you wait.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. They went from like a late game slow team to a late game fast team who likes to go for fights. So they still like the late game, which I'm fine with. So is on a 380 movement speed, so he's a little slower now that he's got all of his items, but 100% crit chance. So.
But the thing is, all he's got to do in a team fight is just sit there and be like an artillery cannon. And
that's true.
Just like fire just massive shots.
Missiles.
If you can get like the most fun thing is hearing a trap go off.
Yeah.
In a team fight, if you've been playing Caitlyn,
and you know someone's dead.
Mini Duke.
Someone's gonna get bopped.
Yeah, I mean nowhere near this level, but I've been playing a whole bunch of Caitlyn lately, and just hearing the trap go off is a nice satisfying thing. Because you know you just get like a right click on somebody, and they lose 1,000 health, and the 2 people next to them get hit huge as well. So it's a very satisfying thing if you can actually manage to get that down. So has been doing a decent job in the last, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes of getting his damage out in team fights.
I mean, when you have 100% crit chance as well, because your passive scales from crit chance, it does a lot of damage. Oh, Mini Duke coming out. Hiva gets hit up there. He's got the healing, of course, from Triumphant Roar.
4G are trying to 50-50 this. They're like, are they going to stop us going for the base? Probably
Indecision.
not.
Baron's going to go down to G2V. There's the Monsoon coming out. Taiki is going to be backing away. Falco is looking for something to do in this fight. Heaver's onto the back lines, onto Inkos, and so Taiki is trying to take down Falco himself, and everyone is just in this scrum in the middle of the fight. Mininuke's going to go down. Mid lane is exchange. So is going to drop the big damage dealer out for G2V, and Taiki now onto Falco as well. That's just been his quarry through the entire team fight, and Gap's going to help him finish it off. 4 kills for 1, and Inkos is the only one alive. This could be the end of the game here, coming out for G2V.
Inkos is going to get chased around. 4G are going to look to end here. Inkos on his own should not be enough to save this. He does have Baron on him, though, and would be the only person left. 4G needs to commit to something, but Inkos is cutting the wave right now. If Inkos runs to the bottom lane, he can't do enough. No, this is going to be 4G surely pushing it in. They've got Alistair, they've got Echo, they've got Trundle backing now. Inkos recalls as well. 4G will take the bottom inhibitor. Miniduke is still not up for 20 seconds here. Inkos, don't die here.
May have found the pick. Taiki and Gap trying to chase after. They want the inhibitor to go down. Inkos is a little tanky here. He actually doesn't have the lamps to spike. He's got it careful. Taiki's on top of him. Chrono break back to safety. And Gap and Heaver will be backing off out of the base. Miniduke and Senno are back alive, and no way does G2V hold.
G2V barely hold. They rushed down the Baron. Did not seem interested in 4G looking for the mid lane. Sendu dies so early in a fight once again. So incredibly squishy. Miniduke as well. And so cannot kite against these 3 champions right here. It's an Echo, an Alistair. I mean, what are you going to do there? You're going to try and kite back, and ultimately the Trundle's just going to wail on you. We're into another fight, though, as G2 are in the middle lane. They're going to group around Inkos now as the only Baron wearer that remains in this game.
Wow, 51 minutes into this, and I thought like one team fight was going to end it. Apparently not. You kill 4 people, and somehow Inkos holds, clearing out the minion wave, pressuring the bottom side. The inhibitor is still exposed in the mid lane. G2V going to take the initiative, and this will be the opening of a fight. Mimic going to try and come in here. He's going to have to immediately head back to base. Taiki has to chrono shift down, and Sendo, he's knocked into the Nexus turrets. He's going to take so much damage into the Guardian Angel. The rest of the team take the time to take down the inhibitor. Victor, he's good to go. Sendo, he's out of the rip for 74 seconds.
Bot lane is pushing in for 4G. They nearly got the kill onto Caitlyn. That may have been the game-winning play. Trades the flash for flash pretty much on Caitlyn's flash cooldown, so stays alive. Forced to use the heal. Even sold that Phantom Dancer for a Triforce. I mean, was not content with what she was getting from the PD in keeping herself alive. Wanted a little bit more of that, you know, extra damage on the auto attack, plus a little bit of movement speed, plus a little bit of everything.
That's crazy. Hey, you got any more of that damage? Apparently, just a little bit more. Oh, Heaver found an engage onto Miniduke. He's going to back off. He's still alive, and so is the mid lane. And no way did both of them survive. Taiki, he's going to head onto Inkos here. He's going to drop down, and he's also going to trade his life for Gap's Guardian Angel. Miniduke is going to be right on top of him. He comes up, the traps were there. He takes him out of the headshot real quick. 2 and 1. Remember, Sendo's still dead, but 70 seconds on the bot lane for 4G.
And so is completely full health at this point, looking to run up. Ace in the Hole comes out. It's not going to be enough to kill them. It's just going to slow Mimic down, stops the recall, allows them to push up. Now they'll look for the top inhibitor from this. They have Victor available on the side of 4G to try and clear the wave. The problem is Victor is no flash from trading his with the Caitlyn, so if he steps too far forward, Miniduke will look for the kill. There is a Guardian Angel on him at the same time, though. Taiki will clear with his Q, and 4G still have to be careful in front of this inhibitor. It's going to be a slow process. So needs to start setting up traps here. He needs to add the additional attack damage. They're all still on the inner turret on the inhibitor.
They may lose
for G2V.
They may lose the Nexus turrets here. Miniduke, he's going to jump back to safety. Parallel Convergence came out. That was one of the towers dying, but so does the same in 4G's base. Inhibitor is going to be dropping low here. Mimic, Taiki, and Jizuki are going to be holding strong, but the inhibitor goes down. Dragon's going to be up in 2 minutes here, Stress.
Man, I'd really like to see So actually placing the traps more actively. I believe the ones in front of the mid tower have just expired from the time duration timing out on them. what you want to do when you're sieging a turret like that, no matter whether you've got the numbers advantage or not, is at least set a line of traps around it so that it forces 4G from not being able to move forward. If they step forward into the trap, you smack them in the face with a massive, like a crit that comes out, and you chunk all of their health down, and it provides a defensive line while sieging. Watch any Caitlyn play and they'll do that. They'll step up to an inhibitor turret and just line it up, because you only need all 5 and you cover the entire
entrance.
The entrance, the distance between the walls and the turret.
And yeah, so is trap placement. It's gonna be a little bit wonky this game. They're never like straight lines. They're kind of like jagged.
It's a good point. I forgot about like the dog leg one that he did in the mid lane. I'm like, just put them flat, man.
Yeah, God, yeah. It like part of my OCD gets like triggered, but they always find that way, that one way to like squeeze around the trap line. 55 minutes in now. Everyone is alive from both teams. Dragon is going to be up in 30 seconds. 1 minute on that Baron as well. And there's going to be some fights around those objectives. There's 2 inhibitors dead for 4G. G2V, this could be the win on the board. And remember, 4G, if they win this game, they'll be first seed in this group. If G2V win, it blows the group wide open.
Blows it wide open doesn't quite summarize the possibilities if there is a 4-team tie at least in Group B. And depending on the rest of the results today, there is not really any way to decide them without playing further games if we end up in the nightmare scenario. But it's on 4G or G2V. This last fight is going to decide the game. The traps have come out.
They're still trying to come through. There's one Taiki. He's starting off the fight, but he gets chunked out by So. Hiva is going to knock away Inkos from the start of this one. Senno's trying to reconvert over to the team. Hiva gets caught back because he's going through the bottleneck. Taiki goes in. He goes out. He's dropped into his Guardian Angel. Falco is going to come for the mid-fight healing. Hiva with a combo onto Sendo. Inkos back into his ultimate, and Hiva's going to find the same. Everyone is going to come out of the Lamsrud's bite. Shut down.
Caitlyn's got it.
So. He's still alive. No one can quite get to him. And this is going to be the retreat in from Forge. They'll turn around and they'll take down the Dragon.
TP into the
Two
base.
kills there. TP in from Minijuke. He's going to try and pressure the base.
He's going to try. In comes the TP from Sendu. It's 2 people cutting 4G off right now. They don't have Caitlyn with them. They've still got to be a little careful. Sendu can take on the support, no problem. Miniduke, though, on the other side. This looks like G2V's victory here as they're pushing towards it, but they just have to edge this out carefully. As soon as that Nexus turret dies, pretty much so do 4G's hopes of taking a clean first place in this.
Minijuke coming in here. So is Sendo. They take down Cap. They're onto the Nexus itself. And G2V, and it's 1 hour epic. Take down 4G.
Wow, what a crazy set of last 20 minutes in that game.
What even was that?
That game should really have been kind of done by the advantage that was the 4G had accrued. I need a minute. I'm just going to kind of settle myself.
Yeah, I'm still like hyperventilating over here. That was 1 hour of just like constant kills, constant action. And you're right, Team Forge had a massive advantage in the early game, which was like, yeah, this game's done. They're going to take first place. No worries. Then G2V, after fight after fight after fight, keep getting these small advantages in those skirmishes, no less, that Team Forge didn't play around. And then we got into this slugfest where we have these AD carries who were just like got 100% crit chance, just hitting everyone for like 2,000 damage. And in the end, yeah, G2V won at the Dragon and just closed out the game. It was nuts.
Crazy, absolutely crazy set of games. And the important thing is, how does that game affect the standings?
Yeah.
That was game 1 of Group B for the day.
A lot of implications.
There's a lot of implications to come up. So if we can take a look at the current standings after this game, of course, the ones with the asterisks, as you mentioned earlier, have not been played out. 4G sit for now at the top, only because they own the head-to-head over Kick. From there, ESG and G2V, Chev 6, and potentially Mouse could, all swap around in different places. Right now, they are listed alphabetically within ties as well.
Yeah.
So you can see G2V right there, right in the middle of the pack. I'm pretty sure they're done. Yes, they are, because 2 teams will be above them with 3 wins. So it's all reliant on the remaining games. Mouse as well can't achieve 3 wins and are out as well.
Indeed. And wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy, not only end to that game, but like basically the whole hour. But yeah, great to see from G2V. It's been weird. The teams at like kind of the bottom of the pack have been the ones who have been performing and just blue shelling everyone like at the top of the table. Like Melty turned up.
Where were these teams?
G2V turned up.
Days 1 to 3.
I know. It's crazy.
If they had done that, we could have had some crazy games.
Exactly, and had like a 6-way tie. I don't know, something insane.
Just the whole group's tied.
Yeah, we're just like, let's play the whole thing again. But I don't know. I don't know what happened to these teams in that like one day off they had, and then they just came back and just got good.
Got good.
So I'm not really sure.
Well, I mean, G2V got to the late game with a Caitlyn that got full build.
They did. With Trinity Force, they even sold the Phantom Dancer to get a little bit extra damage.
Tends to help, I guess. But it was stalling 4G out, stalling Forge out. Those fights in the mid lane, man, slowed them down. Forge just couldn't quite push in after it, couldn't get the objectives. What's going to happen for the rest of the day? I can't yet tell who's getting out of Group B.
I don't either. Well, at the very least, that's it from me because Sifu will be taking over the desk after this one. So that's game 4 done. That was a crazy end to at least my set. So we're going to be taking a quick break before we head on to our last 2 games of the day.